definitely has a unique look about it. It's almost like a sedan. You know, you've got the side silhouette of a sedan almost. It's quite low, long and flat, and it's all very well proportioned. There's no awkward bits. I mean, it does look unique, but yeah, there's nothing that's really stands out as in, oh yuck, what's that? VFAX classes this as an SUV. But if we have a look at the back here, it's almost like a ute. Got this little pop down window, which you can leave open if you want to. Get some ventilation in there because it does get quite hot. It's like a glass house sitting in the sun. So you can just pop down the rear window just to exhaust some of the air. You can roll this roof right back, and there we have pretty much a small ute. Now this floor and everything, you wouldn't want to put, you know, half a ton of sand in there or something like that, or heavy duty tools, but you could definitely get some equipment in there. Now the party piece here, which you don't get with most utes, is you can fold down not just the rear seats, but that whole bulkhead, and the window drops down. So you can actually drop the window down separately, so you can drive along with that rear window down, or you can flip down the rear seats and then you get access to a very long cargo area. The base model is around $65,000. This is the top spec all-wheel drive, priced from around $74,000, excluding on roads. Power comes from a 90 kilowatt hour battery feeding 2 electric motors that combine to produce 440 kilowatts and 645 Newton meters, with Deepal claiming 0 to 100 in 4 seconds flat, or I think it says 3.96 or something on the local website. Lots of high-tech advanced technology with this one as well. This has got height adjustable air suspension, and it's actually adaptive as well. So you can change the ride height, but also go through to soft and firmer settings. I mean, taking a look at the wheels there, 21 inches, wrapped in 265/45 Michelin Pilot Sport 4 SUV tyres. They're definitely road-oriented tyres, but yeah, they're not going to get you far off the road. And then inside, very modern SUV-like cabin. So that's, in that regard, very different to the traditional dual cab 4x4 utes on the market. This is, yeah, quite luxurious and refined. Actually, decent build quality. There's no creaks or rattles that I found. And you've got a good mixture of materials. And the driving position is pretty good. Like, I've found a position that makes me feel comfortable and relaxed. And in the back, massive amount of leg room and space and headroom as well. Very soft, comfortable, cushy seat. Yeah, this is pretty much a luxury sedan. The floor is completely flat, and I've got more than enough leg room. Got little pockets in the backs of the seats, a flip down armrest with cup holders. And I love this rear bench seat. Like, it's really soft and comfortable, sort of has some side support as well. But yeah, you don't get this in a typical dual cab ute. Overall though, I think it's a very interesting car. Again, because it mixes sort of different segments and kind of grabs the best bits. I love that it's got air suspension, for example, and I love that it's very, very powerful and quick, for example, as well. I like that it's got proper Michelin tyres. And even the price is not too bad for this size and for the amount of kit and luxury that you get. Let's go for a drive now and I'll show you what it's like, and we'll do the performance test later on as well. To start with, I'll just leave it in the comfort mode just to give you a bit of an idea of what it's like, although you probably can't tell on camera, but it's definitely floating about. It's like driving a waterbed. Comfortable and relaxing. If you're in the city or in, you know, slow speed urban conditions, this might be the setting that you prefer. But on a winding road, even going pretty slow, yeah, it's just wobbling about and moving about quite a bit. I mean, I wouldn't say it's wobbling, but it's definitely very soft. You can feel the body moving around. Absorbing bumps, yep, that's perfect, but yeah, just maybe a bit too much movement. Even in the comfort mode, you've got instant throttle response. Being electric, you just don't get the full power. It doesn't feel like you've got the full power. It still goes really well. It's probably, you know, I don't know, 5.5 seconds, 0 to 100 in this comfort mode. Full throttle. Yeah, it still picks up speed, no problem at all. You can see the front lifting up as it accelerates. We'll flick it over into sport mode now. You get a bit of a tune and some tyre screeching to let you know you're in the sport mode. And yeah, I can feel the body has lowered down a little bit, and the damper setting seems to be a bit firmer. Like, I can feel the finer details in the road, the little ripples and so on. So it's definitely a sportier setting. Throttle response, yeah, it really picks up and goes. The nose still raises up, that's what I mean. The suspension is still a little bit sort of soft, in my opinion, in terms of the body movement that it allows. The initial bump is, you know, sporty and fitting, but yeah, it's still, there's a lot of body movement, including pitch and dive under brakes. So get on the brakes and the nose squats down. It does have awesome brakes actually, partly helped by those big Michelin tyres. But yeah, as you'll see in the upcoming performance test, it actually stops very quickly and in short distance, especially for its weight. It is a big vehicle actually, and it's probably comparable to some dual cab utes in terms of length, and it's pretty wide as well. So on a tight winding road like this, you've just got to be a bit mindful of that, I guess. But it doesn't feel intimidating, it's just a big vehicle. We'll turn the ESC off and just see how it goes. Even with it all the way off, I've found that it's still on, like it won't let you completely slip. I'll just show you, but it is it's not on as much as having it actually on, if that makes sense. So that let me have some torque steer or front wheel slip there with it off, whereas if you just leave it on, it just cuts the power. So you're accelerating, it's just slowly going around the corner because it knows that's too much throttle for that situation with that steering angle. Yeah, so there it's just cutting it a little bit. I don't like the way it's pretty crude in the way that it cuts, like it just jams the brakes really sharply, or it cuts the power really abruptly, which is a little bit off-putting. If you're doing some sporty driving, you don't really want that. I mean, you want that safety net, that's fine. I mean, I'd prefer it to be off completely, but if you've got that safety net, that's fine, but don't be so abrupt about it. Let's throw it in here, full power, bit of wheel spin from that inside front wheel. Yeah, and see along here, it's quite bumpy, but the body is lifting up and all that, but it doesn't seem to impact the driving control. Going back down, I'll push it a little bit harder. Awesome acceleration. One thing I'm finding though is when you back off the throttle, there's about, I don't know, half a second where it just keeps accelerating. I'll try and show you that, but it's going to be hard without hearing the engine kind of revving. But full throttle, accelerating, lift off, that was still accelerating for a good half a second. The only way around it is, I find anyway, I left foot brake. So as soon as I'm off the throttle, I'm on the brakes anyway. So it's cutting it, force cutting it basically. But, if you're accelerating, off at the lights or whatever, you back off, you want it to be backing off straight away. Like a petrol engine, it's closing the butterfly. So it's cutting the power straight away. Whereas this, I don't know why it keeps back off. See, it's still accelerating down the hill. I'd rather it just cut it straight off. Obviously just software tweaking and calibration work that can fix that pretty easily. But yeah, massive power, massive speed. There's definitely no shortage of it. You don't need any more than this. This is fast enough, so especially for a big, SUV/ute like this. But it is good to see that it's controllable. It's not just spinning away the power. It's got nice tires on it, nice brakes. It seems to be quite well balanced, even with that kind of softish, by softish I mean the suspension travel movement, it seems to be quite good. Push it a bit harder through here, so it's cutting the power a little bit, jump on the brakes. Oh, so just cut it there, I've still got the power down, go, 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 go. And then it sort of slowly releases it. So it cuts it abruptly, but then slowly releases it, which I guess is better than just letting you, give it full power back again. Now through here it's quite bumpy and it's very easy to unsettle the car, especially at speed. You get a bit of sort of bouncing or bucking happening, whereas this, with the air suspension, it's absorbing the bumps, and with that wheel travel that it has, it's able to absorb the bumps nicely. Like, it doesn't matter how big and jolty the bumps are, it can absorb them and keep good body control, body stability. You can hear the relay clicking away there, cutting the power and grabbing the brakes. That's what I mean. It's not completely off, but it provides a little bit more slip than if it was on. The steering is okay. It's not, highly communicative like a sports car, but it feels okay. I know, got a pretty good sense of what the tyres are doing, if there's a bit of understeer or whatever. It's you've got different modes as well, or different weight modes, different feel. Doesn't really change much, but it just makes it a bit, if you put it in a sport mode, just, yeah, it makes it a bit more firm. Actually, speaking of which, we'll put it back into the custom mode. Now this has got, I've got it, so the suspension is in the mid-level, but the suspension strength is in sport. So you're still going to have the control of the sport, but you've got more wheel travel because the ride height has increased. And here you'll see, it's almost like a stadium truck in the way that the thing just leaps up the front, the nose just lifts right up under power. Now, I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing. I guess it's kind of good because it means if you hit bumps around the corners, it's not as, you know, impacted in terms of the stability, but it does mean you're unweighting the front end and potentially inducing understeer. But yeah, you probably can't see that on camera, but the nose is just lifting right up. It's pretty cool, actually. Yeah, I like this mode the best because it's giving me sort of the ability to throw the weight around a little bit of body movement, but still with that firmer suspension setting. That's full power, full power. Picking up speed really quick. Yeah, so through there's a lot of big bumps that you might not see on camera, but it's just the wheel is going right up into the guards. It's got plenty of travel. There we go. Look, I think this is actually an interesting car, and I mean that in the genuine sense of the word, or the meaning of the word interesting. Like, I want to get up and drive this again in the morning because I just want to dig around and figure out what else it can do. Having all that adjustment, the suspension, all that, I think it's great. As I said, the tires are good, the brakes are good, it goes really hard, like it's fast. Just the big touch screen, I think, is a bit over the top. It's also got surround view cameras. You can go in here and you've got a dash cam, which, you know, could be handy if you're spending a lot of time on the road. You can turn off the video recording. It's also got an in-car cam as well. Got it all switched off. But yeah, that could be handy as a if you're working and, you know, you want to keep an eye on all this sort of stuff for insurance purposes. So yeah, the technology level in here is great. Just needs to be fine-tuned a little bit. The suspension could be a little bit sort of just less body movement, not really firmness, it's just body movement. There's a lot of body movement, even in the sport mode. Have a sport plus mode or something, as I said. But also having everything within that screen, I think, can be problematic because it's just a bit of a distraction. Big screens as well, they just produce too much light at night time, I think. But overall, yeah, I'm quite impressed, and I like the price of this as well. This could easily be 100 grand from a, you know, established brand if they offered something like this, but yet we've got it here for 74,000, or excluding on roads. I think that's a pretty good deal for the range, for the performance, for the amount of vehicle you're getting. All right, let's head off now and do the performance test and see what it goes like.